be end all. You have to have your candy corn. Hi, everyone.
Absolutely. I mean, this is all just facts you're saying. This is 100% facts.
Yes. So, welcome. It is Friday. That means it is time for the next Paint and Slay. It is good to see you. It is me, V, and Lauren above. And we are here to paint some minis. Well, minis today. But before we get into the swing of things, and before we start painting and having fun in that respect, Lauren, what do we have going on this week for Idol Champions?
Candy corn. Okay, yes, we've got more than that. We have a lot more than that. So yes, first off, let's talk about Kent. We'll do that first. So Kent came out on Wednesday for Liars Night, Kent from Rivals of Waterdeep. And make sure you log in not only to start your Liars Night adventures so that you can unlock Kent into your game, but also Kent has joined Idol Champions presents Hunger of the Far Realms, which is our 6-part D&D game, which is happening on Monday nights, starting at 4 p.m. Pacific. We had episode 1 last week. It's up on our YouTube, and episode 2 is coming up. And the other reason you'll want to log into the game, if you haven't yet, is because there's probably a new vote up right now.
Yeah.
I think it would have just happened. So make sure you log on in,
just
vote for something to happen on Monday during the D&D game. Get yourself a token, which is super appropriate considering Kent and some of his abilities. But the token in the game will let you unlock awesome loot in the game. All you got to do is vote, and it's awesome. It's fun. And then there's a specific reason we are doing the Candy Corn Roper. We took a break from the Jabberwock words. We took a break from the Jabberwock specifically to take care of the Candy Corn Roper because there's a special game happening next week. On this channel, right after us, there's going to be the Wava. Oh, I've forgotten what they've called it. Thank you. The Halloween Haunt. Look, V is good and has all the information up there. So it is a level 20 D&D game being DM'd by the always amazing B. Dave Walters. You know he is a master at running one-shot D&D games, especially at high levels. He's got an amazing cast with him, which includes a lot of people that the Idol Champions community are very familiar with. There's the wonderful cast. And that is a game that is being played for a charity, specifically to raise money for WAVA. They are a rape crisis center, which does amazing work across Canada. Yeah. And they're going to be raising money for that organization. And one of the things that you can do in order to participate is you can enter their raffles. And they've got a bunch of different things that are going to be available for raffle tickets. So if you want to just, $5, $10, $15, whatever you can spare, all of it helps. But you can get some raffle tickets. And when we're done with these, they will be part of the raffle. That's right. You will have a chance to win the Candy Corn Ropers that we're going to be painting today and next week, which is, we are just super honored to be able to help out with such an amazing organization by doing something so fun and so silly. So definitely make plans next week to not only come by for this awesome stream, but then to stick around for a couple of extra hours and watch the chaos that I'm sure B. Dave will cause. And if you have some disposable income, because, times are tight for a lot of people. If you have some money, absolutely enter their raffles. They've got a lot of amazing prizes. It is for an amazing cause. If you don't have any money, if you want to go ahead and promote the game to other people so that they can see, that is often some of the best ways that you can help support these kind of charity one-shots. So check out their Twitter and ours because it will be on our channel. And we are very happy and honored to be able to support them in this one-shot. Exactly. Did I miss anything?
No, I mean, it's pretty much going to be happening right after Paint and Slay. So you get to hang out with us and then literally go right over to the game. It's going to be a beautiful thing. So it's going to be lots of fun. And really, quite frankly, you, the chat, have inspired this Candy Corn Roper because we were talking
100%.
about Helen and how she looks like a bit of candy corn. And it's like, wait a minute. So we will be using the WizKids Mini, the Roper Mini from the D&D Nolzur's Marvelous Miniatures line, which you can find at your local game store. I just looked at Lauren, and it's one of those things where if for some reason you cannot get to a local game store, it's not an option for you. You can always go to dndmini.com and purchase this mini as well. Don't forget WizKids. Thank you, WizKids, has been kind enough to give us a code that you can use when you go and shop there for 10% off your purchase at dndmini.com. I believe this one is Cover Your Ears 10 off is still what's cranking along for this one. We'll have a new code for you.
Every time you say that, I immediately go to cover my ears.
Cover my ears. So we will have another code for you in November is what we'll switch over. But for the month of October, we have Cover Your Ears. That is partly because of the Jabberwock, if you look into the Jabberwock lore, but it's carrying over for our Not Helen mini that we'll be painting today. But keep in mind, I have built the instructions for this candy corn miniature to reflect what I did with our Helen, even though the colors are going to be different. So what I'll be doing is, as we're painting candy corn version, I'll be explaining how I, also had Helen come out to look the way she does for those who want to recreate our Helen. So Helen has a lot of fantastic details, as you can see on here. Thank you. And what I'm going to do
That's so pretty, Helen.
I know. So we're going to be doing I call them my shadow layers. You've seen us do this before, where we start off with black and build up in grays to a white tone. And then basically taking on using glaze and wash techniques to bring the colors out in the mini. So what we did is, what we'll do for the candy corn roper is what I did for Helen, but obviously using candy corn colors is how this is going to work out. Which is interesting. So really, yeah, go ahead.
I'm just going to say real quick, if you do have any questions about any of that, about any painting stuff that you want to ask, or about Idle Champions and Hunger of the Far Realms or the game stuff, you can go ahead and put those questions in chat. We have the amazing Martin as our moderator for today's show, and Martin will be grabbing those from chat so we can save those. So if I'm too busy trying to paint a mini that someone is going to get as a raffle, which is...
Right?
Slightly nerve-wracking.
It's a thing.
Then it's a thing. It's a thing. Go ahead, put those questions in chat, put question in big capital letters, and that way we won't miss your question just because I am panicking.
There we go. So jumping into this mini and a little bit about it, FYI, it does come primed ahead of time. You don't need to prime your mini. You might have to go through and remove some mold line details. That can happen sometimes just because of the nature of these being, the factory minis coming in primed ahead of time. Very easily to remove those with a mold line remover. You can even buff it down with a nail file. FYI there. One little thing about Not Helen. I don't know what this one's name's going to be yet. I'm just going to say Not Helen. Not Helen came with the tentacles crossed a couple times on me. So I actually went in and I dunked Not Helen's tentacles into boiling hot water for about 10 seconds, took it out, then dunked the tentacles into ice cold water while holding it in the position that I wanted them to be. Which has then freeze them into shape. And also why you'll notice Not Helen has a slightly different tentacle form than Helen does, just because I wanted to. But that is something you can do with your minis. You can kind of augment and reshape them a little bit to personalize them a little bit more, which is what I did with Not Helen.
And I did the same with mine. I had these two specifically were a little crossed over. And I will say it's super easy. Like, it sounds like, boiling hot water and cold water and dunking and holding. It's super, super easy. It's 10 seconds in the hot water. And especially if you're old, like for me, I only needed to work with these two tentacles. So I didn't even put all of the mini into the hot water. Yeah, I just put these two and just did a dunk. And it was a minute of, it took longer to boil the water.
That's just it. That's most of your time, waiting for that water to boil and then putting the ice in the ice water. That takes longer than the actual fixing.
Yep, it honestly did.
Yeah. So we're going to jump in and we're going to paint the roper all black. Da, 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 da. But make sure you thin it down a little bit because this roper, it's textured. There are a lot of little nooks and crannies and hidden little spots that you're not going to realize unless you thin this paint out. Reason why you want to thin out that black paint is because if you go in with a thicker paint, it's not going to get into those deeper recesses, or if it does, it's going to be really thick and gloppy, and then it's then going to dry and become hard, and then you're losing your details. So you want to make sure you're thinning out your paints and have it be sort of the texture of, in this case, Warm maple syrup. Yeah, I think we're gonna go warm maple syrup level here
All right.
for our food reference. And we're gonna take black, and I'm using the black that I still have left from that Chimera paint kit.
I do too,
Because
but I
I'm
just
trying to use
automatically
this up.
Yeah, I just automatically grab the other
Yeah.
the black from our
From the
that we've
bottle,
been
yeah, that we
using.
have from the kit. But I'm trying because it's starting to like be like, hey, I've been in this open pot for a little bit. You
Yeah.
might want to use me up. So since I know I'm thinning it out, I'm like, yeah, this is like the perfect time to use up this black as much as possible. And hello, Sir Jester. I just saw
Oh,
you pop
hi.
up in the chat.
Hi. And we did have a couple questions. We actually have a very
Cool.
good question that I'm not sure I know the complete answer to, but we will try to find out.
Mm-hmm.
Rajita asks, is Quebec eligible for the raffle? Which is a beautiful question because if
It
you've been
is.
participating in our raffles that happen on Monday during, I almost said Court of the Raven Queen, during
No.
Hunger of the Far Realm, then you'll know that we do two separate raffles, one
Yeah.
for a digital bundle and one for the physical thing, because unfortunately, uh, sending raffle winner stuff to Quebec has weirdness involved that actually
Legal
is
weirdness. Yeah.
legal weirdness that we don't want to put on anybody, so we can't send to Quebec. I am unsure if the raffles for Wava are the same way.
Mm-hmm.
I'll see if I can find out. That being said, I know it's a bunch of different prizes, and I
Yeah.
believe many of the raffle, like when you enter, you're not entering for a specific raffle bundle. It's a big pot of prizes that you have a chance to win, and I believe some of those are digital only. So if the answer is that some of the physical ones might not be able to get sent to Quebec, I'm pretty sure, but we will definitely find out.
Yeah. Or I believe they Wava has a page for this or information about it, so it might be worth also visiting Wava's website, or at the
Yep.
very least go to their Twitter and check out what their posts are about Twitter.
Yep, Twitter, and then also we should have a link to the Tiltify that
go.
Martin can put in the chat. And because you can go ahead and donate now. So if you can't watch the show live, you can donate now and enter the raffles and all of that. And their Tiltify does have a ton of information about the show, about the raffles, about the organization and all of that. So definitely go check them out. But that is an excellent question that we will find out.
Yeah.
I feel bad every time B Dave has to give the Quebec, you know what you did.
You know what you did.
But you know what? If it means that we get to give away two separate things on our Monday streams, then you know what? It ends up being a silver lining.
Yeah. It is interesting when you're trying to make it sound like a not mean-spirited exclusion, because when I was doing the giveaway videos, I'm like, how do I accept Quebec? Like, sorry.
Yeah, I don't remember all of the details, but it's something
There's a lot
in where
of weird.
And it's not just weirdness that would, like, if it was just that we had to do weird stuff, we would do it. Like if we just had to pay extra or whatever. But there's things about when it arrives. Yeah. And where whoever won it also has to
claim it and like put it into like tax return stuff and et cetera, et cetera. It's like, whoa.
Yeah, it's way more hassle than we think it's worth to put on someone who just wants to win something fun. It's one of those things.
So let's get big. But yes, we're going in and we're doing all black. And hello, Urban Bohemian. I just saw.
Oh, hi.
Just saw the chat saying hello, so I'm going to say hello.
Yep. We were just talking about Kent and Virgil being in Hunger of the Far Realms.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah. I don't have the game running because we're streaming and I'm trying to conserve computer power. Can someone put into the chat what the vote is that just went up?
That would be cool.
Yeah, because I know there's V and I are in a weird position in where we got to see what those votes are ahead of time as we were coming up with them. So I don't always remember the specific days. I don't always remember, like, what's today's vote?
I mean, I've been there since inception, and that voting chart has gone through many permutations. So when people say, well, what's the vote for this week? I'm like, I don't know. It was so many different votes about 5 weeks ago. I don't know.
Yeah. I remember when Court of the Raven Queen was happening, and it was one of those, like, okay, I shouldn't be involved in a lot of this, so I don't have to worry about
Mm-hmm.
metagaming. But also, I really want to vote for things, and chat
Mm-hmm.
remembers. Chat remembers. You remember. So it's been fun to not have to worry about that again,
Yeah.
and then to show up to DM Jazzy Hands stream when
Mm-hmm.
there's a vote literally for what kind of magic item should Kent get, and
Oh my
having
God, that was
getting to listen to him
perfect.
have that discussion was amazing.
Yeah, that was just perfect.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Oh, okay. So, that Urban Bohemia is on top of things. There is
thank
legitimate
you.
salvage in the debris field. What do the champions find? And the
Ooh.
voting options are Far Realm shards or Shadowfell shards. Ooh.
Mm.
Both spooky, but potentially spooky in different ways.
Yes, exactly.
Hmm. I mean,
Intriguing.
I I mean, vote for whatever you want to vote for. This is not an endorsement either way, but I'd probably go for Far Realm Shards simply because it fits with the theme of the
Yeah.
show.
Yeah.
Uh, but as someone who is a fan of the Raven Queen for a variety of reasons, Shadowfell Shards could be fun. Ooh,
Tune in to find
painting these
out.
tentacles are a weird
It
challenge.
is. It is an interesting little blip.
Yeah.
But now you see why I said make sure you get these things uncrossed from each other. Otherwise, you're
Oh
having to
yeah.
like manipulate one out of the way and paint the one, let it dry, put it back together.
They're
It's easier
sturdy
to
enough,
divide them,
unlike like tentacles and
right?
antenna and other things that we've
Mm-hmm.
painted before. They're sturdy enough that they're not really, it's not like I
Right.
can't
Yeah.
I can't poke it, but it's still trying to
I
get all over
find
these
it helps
tentacles.
to kind of because there's striations almost like earthworms on them. So I find
Mm-hmm.
it's easier to actually pull the paintbrush with the striations direction, and it does a little bit more of
Ah,
a consistent cover that way, as
that
opposed to trying to go
yeah,
down the length of the tentacle.
which is
So
exactly
it's
what I
yeah,
was trying to do.
yeah, shorter strokes, going with the segments. That's the word I was looking for. The segmentation pattern helps.
Ah. I'm also trying to avoid flicking the paintbrush and getting black everywhere
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I would definitely do that.
Splatter.
That would be my whoopsie.
Mm-hmm. It happens.
Uh, yes, and the Lurking Writer does bring up a good point. I mean, it has been a couple of days, and the episode is up on YouTube, but let's try to
No
avoid
spoilers.
major spoilers from episode 1 in case
Yes.
anybody hasn't had a chance to catch up yet, because of at 3 hours of a D&D game, sometimes that's the kind of thing and where you're waiting for the weekend to have the time
Mm-hmm.
to watch. So, uh,
Exactly. Yeah.
and it is definitely, it's an amazing first game.
Yeah.
And if I didn't know ahead of time that some of these characters hadn't been playing together for years, I wouldn't have known. They gelled so well. It was amazing.
The cast is fantastic. I mean, I was sitting there enjoying it thoroughly on my end, and it was just great
Yeah,
to see them all enjoying themselves and vibing and doing their thing as their characters and as themselves. It was great. It really was.
absolutely.
Um, and if you want a really good go to one stop shop, if you will, we do have a landing page for it now. So if you go to idlechampions.com/hunger of the far realm, it'll pull up all the information about this particular Idle Champions Presents. And you get to
Hey.
see cool art too. So I highly recommend it. Get to see all their
Yeah.
champions and their Spelljammer skins. It's cool.
Bay Neon says, as this is not Helen, is it her cousin Cornelius? I like that.
Yeah.
Corn, of course.
Uh-huh.
Oh, Keith G wants to know, how does Helen feel now that you're painting another Roper? Oh,
That's a good question.
I mean, Helen doesn't seem like the jealous type, but I don't know.
No, I think Helen's just like more friends.
Yeah.
People to play with.
Yeah. It's also for charity, which,
Exactly.
that puts a whole new spin on everything.
It's for a good cause.
Absolutely.
Plus, it's not Helen that I'm going to be raffling. I mean, she's staying right where she is. I don't think I could ever raffle Helen away. She's
Oh,
my girl.
no.
She's my girl.
Yeah. No, we just
Yep.
have to do another Roper in
Mhm.
actual Roper colors instead
Right.
of actually giving away Helen. I mean, oh,
Yes. No, 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 no.
perish the thought.
No, 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 no. But for those of you who are just joining us now, while we will be painting this Roper to look like a candy corn and other little lovely bits of candy, this is the starting technique that I used for Helen to get her going when I was first painting her. And I like to paint minis while I play D&D on Saturdays with my crew. It actually helps me concentrate better because I can zone out while I'm painting the mini and listen. When I paint minis, I tend to I'll watch movies or listen to shows. So when I'm playing my D&D game with my Saturday group, I'll grab a mini and start painting. So it was one of those days I'm like, I want to paint a mini while I'm playing today. And I literally just grabbed a Roper. I'm like, that's cool and lots of textures. Let's just do something with that.
There's a lot of people who, when playing, having, something to fidget with, something to, something that doesn't take up your mind, but just takes up enough of your anxious energy, especially during fights where you might have to be waiting for, a little while before it's your turn. Then that's been super helpful.
Yeah.
And I definitely, a lot of the D&D games that I watch that are streamed games, I'm usually doing something else at the same time. Yeah. Similarly, I'm working out usually, especially for Critical Role.
Oh gosh.
Then it turns into, I'm going to work out during part 1, and then can I shower and get back before part 2?
There you go.
That turns into the game.
The beat the clock game, yeah.
Yeah. It was a lot easier when they were live. Although I appreciate that they're pre-taped now, because I think with captions and everything it works a lot better. Yeah. But it does mean I don't have nearly as much time.
Oh.
So it's a quick shower. It's super quick.
Yeah.
But that's okay.
Yeah.
So, all right, here's my question.
Yes.
There are 6 tentacles.
Correct.
Is that 6 armpits or 12 armpits?
6, isn't it?
Well, because I'm looking at this and I'm like, because I was just painting in here and I'm like, armpit.
2,
I'm like, okay,
3,
wait.
4, 5, 6 under armpitties.
Okay, so you're just talking. You consider an armpit in this case to just be under, not over.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Because then it'd be 6 armpits, 6 shoulders. Why do we have these colors?
I mean, this is where I was going. This is what I think about. No, this is chat. Help me, right? That's what we all think about, right?
Oh my god.
Oh yeah, here we go. Urban Bohemian says 6 under armpits, 6 over armpits.
Oh my god.
I mean, because it's a tentacle, right?
So then it's not even an armpit, is it? It's a tentacle pit. Tentacle pit.
That's true. If we want to be very specific about this, which I'm all for. I'm all for that. Actually, geek moment.
I don't know.
Actually, they're tentacles. They're not
tentacle pits.
Yeah. This is a question. This is a question for the actually game that Brennan Lee Mulligan would just be all over. Actually, a Roper has tentacles and not arms, so they wouldn't be considered an armpit.
Anatomy of Monsters. I need to sit down and write a book, The Anatomy of Monsters.
Right?
And it's actually like painting technique tips for different parts of monster bodies. That would be fun.
You can call it like the art of the monster. And then and then it's all kinds of painting techniques for the but it's written like a field guide.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
That would be fun. That would be a lot of fun. Now to find the time in the puddle to actually get that
right. Yep. It's easier to dream up these ideas than to have the time and the money to do them.
Exactly. I have the ideas. It's the execution and timing that make it more of a trick.
Yeah.
I need to get myself some more watered down black because this is a thirsty mini. Wait. Is that what I meant?
Well then, moving on. I may actually have to also get some more black. I was trying to be cautious in how much black I put on the paper plate, and I might not have put enough.
Yep.
I still have the whole. We're doing the base in black as well.
Yes, base in black as well. The whole mini is getting painted black. I'm also not putting hyaluronic acid onto the paint. For those of you who are new, those of you who've been with us, you know I just like to use this bottle as my clean water bottle dropper to thin my paints. But this is one of those labels I have tried to remove, like one of those itty bitty corners, and it's going to be a mess. And I'm like, you know what? I know it's not the hyaluronic acid. I know it's just clean water. I'm not going to go to the extra effort just to remove a label that really doesn't matter.
Yeah. It adds to the mystery of the painting.
Exactly,
That's all.
Exactly. I'm also, it sounds like the lawn guys have finally showed up this week, and it's fall, y'all, which means there are tons of leaves outside my house. If you hear any humming on my end, it's their leaf blowers.
All right, I've made a mistake.
Oh? How have you made a mistake?
So I put the mini down in order to get some more black, but I've been painting the top. So now I need to grab the parts of the mini that I haven't painted yet, which are on the bottom.
Yes.
I've made a small mistake.
Top dry enough to pincher it like this?
Let's see. Maybe. You know what? It's dry enough that I can pick it up and then take hold of the bottom.
There you go.
I literally went to go pick up the mini and I went, this is a problem. I did not think this through.
Yep. You will find as you get into the bottom portions of this roper, you're going to want to do a lot more pokey action because there is some deep crevices down around the stones, the stalagmites. Which, thank you, Mr. James Intricasso. He gave this little tip on Twitter today, which I thought, that's perfectly timed because it's stalactites and stalagmites. And stalag has the G in it for ground, and stalactites has a C in it for ceiling.
I really like that tip. I also like that a bunch of people came along afterwards and said, "Oh, that's great. Here's how I remembered it." So that there's like 4 or 5 different ways in that Twitter thread now to remember.
But I was like, "Give me the spell. Thank you. That'll help me. That'll help me."
Yeah. See, and my way is that I remember that mites crawl along the ground, and so that stalagmites are on the ground. And then I just extrapolate from there. Well, if the mites are on the ground. But yeah, I know, 4 or 5 other people came along like that. That's a good idea. And then here's some others. So apparently all of us in school learned different. They're not mnemonics. Different.
Oh, it's actually an actual thing. I'm trying to remember what it's called.
Yeah, I don't know what that's. Yeah. Chat, help us. What's that called? Oh, yeah. Garwar has another one. For me, it's the T in tights that I read as top. Absolutely. That's a fun thing when I ask chat.
I'm liking what I'm sorry, I got quiet because I was reading chat. Yeah. Chat's having fun with this.
Yeah, plus we have to wait the 10 seconds for the delay. Right. So like ask question in chat. 1, pause, 2, 3. Yeah. Devil Crayon says stalactites need to hold on tight or they fall. That's a good one.
That's cute.
Msta says a stalagmite might be okay on the ground, but stalactite has to hold on tight to stay up.
There we go. There's a continuation.
Yeah. I like stuff like this. Smoking in One says there are different memory techniques, and I like that because everybody has a different way that it helps them to remember. And there's stuff like this that don't have multiple ways of remembering them. You just have to be happy with the one way you got to memorize. So, all right, I'm gonna hold on to the top and hope that it's as dry as I think it is. Or maybe I'll just put this on the paper plate. I might do that. Yeah. Yep. That's what I'm doing.
You good?
Yeah, the paper plate is going to become an interesting piece of Picasso art by the time I'm done, but that's
I
okay.
mean, why not? There have been
Yeah.
some plates that I've saved just because they actually end up looking really cool
Yeah.
from the different paint combinations and stuff. It's like, you're kind of artistic looking on your own.
Yeah. Yeah, especially poking around at the big rock formations at the
Mm-hmm.
front.
Big Rock Candy Mountain. I don't know where that one just came from.
Ictech says has suggestions for names about Stanley for Stanley Roper from Three's
Oh,
Company.
I think if we paint a Roper again to be like actual Roper colors, then yeah, that one's definitely gonna be Stanley.
That makes sense.
Yeah. But these, I don't know. I almost want to make them like candy names.
Also, because they're being raffled off, maybe it's the
Yeah.
kind of thing where the person who
The
wins them
person
gets
gets
to
to
name
name
them.
them. Yeah. Name the
Yeah.
Roper. Name the Roper.
Name your own candy corn roper.
Mm-hmm.
That could be fun to see on, on social media, whoever wins these
Yeah.
posts and then is like, I've named them this. Sorry, I'm leaning in a weird way to be able to get at the bottom of this.
No, totally fair. Totally get it. Okay, I'm gonna set you down because I think I've gotten to the point where I'm painting shinies and not actual bits that I missed. It's the fun part
I'm
about black
almost
is when
there.
it's drying. Shush. We're getting louder. But it's at the point with black. When you paint with black, you'll notice you think you have everything covered. You think you've gotten all of your spots. You give it about 10 minutes to dry, and you're like, that's a spot I missed. It's actually very common because light reflects back from the black so much sometimes that you don't see those white spots because your mind starts thinking like, oh, that's just like the shiny wet paint. We're totally fine. So yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm at
Yeah.
that point as well. I'm just taking one last look, especially around the tentacles, because
Yeah, exactly. And then question colon, no, Helen was painted not on Paint and Slay. Helen made an appearance and we were goofing around. We didn't have a name for her yet. So the chat named her Helen because of Helen and Stanley Roper. So yeah, if we paint another Roper to look like an actual, Roper, like a below, yeah, I think I might name that one Stanley.
Yeah, chat is 85% responsible for Helen and for the candy corn roper. So hey, thank you, Paint and Slay chat, for being awesome and helping us come up with a fun idea to help raise money for a good cause.
Exactly. All right, I am going to just quickly take some of my rinse water and taking a spare paper towel, and I'm wiping off the big globs of black paint on my hand.
Yeah, I'm working on getting the black off of the brush that I've been using.
Yeah.
Because it likes to stay.
Ta-da! If you catch it soon enough, it's actually not that hard to remove mini paint from your hands.
Oh, yeah. Garwar, I think it's just because Garwar
She's
says
been on so much.
Yeah, I could have sworn Helen was painted on the show. I think it's just that we've referenced and Helen has shown up so much that it totally makes sense.
No, I mean Eugenio can vouch for it. He saw me painting Helen during our stream. We play together on Saturdays.
Let's get Eugenio back on the show. He can be excited about Kent again.
There we go.
Still.
Yes. All right, so we want this to dry a little bit before we go into the next phase. So I'm going to break down what we're doing for each of the parts while we wait for this to dry just a little bit.
And I'm going to eat candy corn.
See, I forgot to grab candy corn.
So did I, but V was nice enough to wait the 30 seconds for me to go grab some.
I didn't even buy it this week. I meant to buy some. I was like, oh, shoot. I forgot to do that. So with the way we're going to break this roper down in terms of different parts of candy, the basically large stalagmite form that is the roper itself is going to be the candy corn. As Lauren just helpfully held up before popping in the mouth, you can see where we're going with this one, which means we'll have the white top, the orange middle, and the yellow base. Then what we're going to do with the tentacles is have some fun and turn it, because I was looking at a roper, I'm like, what does this look like? What does this body part remind me of in terms of candy? I'm not even kidding. So looking at the tentacles, I was like, well, what's like a rope like thing in candy? I'm like, oh, like licorice shoelace things. Oh, red licorice. So this is gonna be like those red licorice shoelace type of candies that we'll paint this to look like for the tentacles. Then I was looking at the eyeball. I'm like, well, we could do like sort of we could have fun and make it look kind of like a gumball eyeball. So we're gonna play around with this, but I wanted to have fun with the colors that we already have going because I'm like, okay, well, that's a lot of orange and yellow and white. So we're going to do a green gumball eyeball type of look to this one. Then, pardon me, when we get down to the base is going to be broken up into two bits. We're going to have sort of pink cotton candy on the actual base itself because it gets a little bit more smoothed out, not necessarily fluffy, but we can paint it to look a little bit more cloud-like with the cotton candy pink color. And then for the smaller stalagmites, we're going to make those look like rock candy. So we'll do that as I thought a powder blue would be fun. Again, going with all these bright colors that we have going on. So this is going to be a very vibrant mini once all is said and done. And in terms of the mouth, well, it's going to be another Roper mouth is really how it's going to come across. I was debating like doing like mini candy corn teeth, but I'm like, that's just going to get to be very
Lots,
like almost too much happening. Because it does get to a point where you're like, so the mouth is
especially since the stripes are going to be right around the mouth. So
that's just it. So to keep it so we're not losing too much in translation, the mouth we're just going to paint as a basic mouth like we tend to do.
It'll be like the autumnal mix versions, and where it'll just will be the brown part of the autumnal.
Yes, there we go. Exactly. So I am waiting for this to dry just a little bit more. Do we have any more questions that came in from chat?
Let me take a look. Sorry, I'm eating candy corn. I'm not eating candy corn for lunch. I did have a proper lunch. Sorry, I heard half a chat being like, "Is this all you're eating for lunch?"
Tea is soup.
Tea.
That's what I did for lunch.
Yeah, that's. You know what? I lied. I have tea and candy corn, and that's my lunch. No. Mom, if you're watching, I did actually have I had a proper lunch. I swear I did. I'm an adult. I'm an adult. You know what? Also, Luke likes to joke that part of being an adult, because you have to take on all of these responsibilities and do all of these adult things, but it also means that you get to do the things that you want to do as a kid that you weren't allowed to do because your parents said no. And for him, it was at one point he wanted to buy a whole bunch of candy from the bulk candy aisle and basically have that for breakfast. And his mom literally said, no, as long as you are a child, you can't do this. When you're an adult, you can go ahead and buy. Yeah. Yep. And the day he turned 16, he went to the grocery store and he bought a bunch of candy to have for breakfast. So
I love it.
Yeah, that's sometimes amazing. You just have to do the thing your child wanted to do.
You've been desperately wanting to do for your entire life. Exactly. Brian's asking, did we decide if tea was soup or just broth? I have experts who weighed in Friday. Thank you so much. Who has said, yes, tea is soup.
Yep. The Lurking Writer asks, or it says, we're normal adult people doing normal adult things.
Always.
Yep. Devil Crayon says, being an adult means having ice cream for breakfast sometimes. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, sometimes.
Eggs and milk and stuff in it.
And sometimes the things you have to do for your mental health mean that you're just going to ignore your physical health for a tiny little amount of time.
Just a little bit. Just a little scotch. Okay, exactly. I'm going to jump to Stonewall Gray. We're going to start building like a charcoal gray.
Okay.
So it's basically take Stonewall Gray and mix some black in. And I'll do a color swatch of the black and then of the mix that I just created. Now, because we're doing the whole mini again, you do want to make a little bit more. So I'm doing about a quarter size, once it sploots out, amount of the Stonewall Gray. And then probably about like a dime-ish dot of... Oh, I'm trying to open up one of these pots. That's why I'm making grunt sounds. Of the black. Probably a couple scoops of the black if you're going from the pot. If you're using your bottle, then a smaller amount of the black next to the Stonewall Gray.
And just for reference, a significant more gray than black.
Yes. So what we're gonna have is, just quick grab. I'm gonna swatch straight up black on my wrist. And then I'm gonna mix. Make sure I got the amount right. I might actually add a little bit more black.
Being ready to add more black or gray, depending.
Yeah. Well, maybe I'm okay.
Lesh68 says they're a fake adult, 53 going on 13. Hey, I'm 45 going on 14, so we're all there with you.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Growlin72 has an excellent question, which would have been a question I absolutely would have asked months ago when we first started this show, which is, could you just mix white and black?
You could. However, white and black make these brighter, more cool tone grays as a result. I am using warm tone colors in the glazes, so I want it to be slightly warmer. Stonewall Gray is a warm gray, which is why I'm mixing Stonewall Gray with black at this point. We will get to white at the end, but for the build-up colors, I want them to have warmer undertones. That is the why of it.
Excellent.
Okay. So this is, it's actually more of a slate gray. I think I said charcoal gray when I meant slate gray.
I think I am very close. And I'm actually adding a little bit of water to mine also because it needs...
Yeah, the
black is really thick.
Thick. It's thick with two C's.
You're not wrong. You are not wrong. There's a lot of it.
It is. So yeah, I'm gonna add a couple drops. We don't want it fully thick because we're gonna be fully thin because we are gonna be dry brushing with this. But this is like paste. Don't want paste.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, that's looking a little less gloopy. All right, cool. So I'm gonna rinse the mixing brush, and then I'm gonna grab a larger or a dry brush, which is a flat brush. And I'm just gonna dab in a little bit on the edge of the brush and then remove the excess on a paper towel. When it starts to do that, like there, that means you're ready to start dry brushing onto the mini. And so I'm just gonna start from the top and pull
dry brushing the whole thing?
Whole thing. So I'm actually gonna pull, in this case, there is some technique to the madness of the method type of thing. I'm gonna pull it so it's going from the bottom to the top in terms of how my brush strokes are being pulled with this particular gray.
All right.
But you can see it starts to add a little bit of highlighting, or low lighting, I should say, to the mini. It's
definitely got a bluish undertone more than the white mixture would have, I think.
Yeah, it has more of the, once you get it built up, it's a warmer tone, whereas the white, it tends to make a more stark gray, which is what I'm trying to not get into as much.
That's a
so that the warm and the cool tones aren't fighting with each other and we end up with a muddier coloring in the long run, is what I want to hopefully avoid.
Oh, my tentacles are still sticky, which is, yes, a thing I said. I knew when I said it. I knew it was going to happen.
Tentacles.
Yeah. Are we also mouth, eye?
There's
no nose on this thing.
Everything. Yeah, there really isn't a nose.
Nope. I went to say nose, and I'm like,
no nose about it. No nose about it. Oh, nose. No nose.
I mean, maybe when you're in a cave, smelling isn't necessarily a good idea. You've got tentacles, you've got eyes, you've got... Do ropers have tremor sense? I can't remember.
I think they do.
Yeah.
I want to say yes. They've got
tremor sense or blind sense.
Yeah, something
one of the two.
that, like, yeah. Because they're like in dark caves and such.
Yeah.
I want to say yes. I haven't fought one in a while, is the problem.
Ironically enough, Luke had his D&D game on Wednesday, and while Well, he doesn't know for sure because the DM never outright said what the creature was.
Oh no.
Literally, as I was pulling this out of the packaging, he's like, I'm pretty sure that's what we fought. So just
I love when
ironically,
stuff
he
like
got
that
a
happens.
chance. Yeah. Ropers are fun though, because they are a relatively low CR, but they
Mm,
have some
do some
really
things.
interesting battle
Yeah.
techniques. They're not just bags of hit points,
Yeah.
but they can be very, very deadly because of it.
Yeah.
You can
You don't want to
end up in,
you don't want to end up in these tentacles.
yeah.
The
You can
tentacles.
very quickly get in a bad position
Yeah.
with them, but that's part of what makes that fight a much more interesting
Yeah.
fight, in my
Yeah.
opinion. I've even come up with land ropers because I'm like, well,
fun.
this group just isn't going to go in a cave anytime soon, and I want to
Mhm.
throw this creature at them. But so you know what? Land ropers.
Love it. I'm going to pull across in the mouth because of the lines that are in there. So less from top to bottom and more side to side. Kind of like brushing teeth.
Yeah, and I'm assuming tentacles are the same way, just kind
Tentacles
of
are going to go from
against
bottom or the tip of the tentacle up to the. What do we end up calling these? Tentacle pits?
tentacle pits.
Up to the tentacle
Yep.
pits.
Yep.
The fact that I actually stopped to think, like, wait, what are we calling these things again? The tentacle pits?
Hey, we might as well be consistent,
I mean,
right?
that's exactly it.
Oh, that is true. I'm going over to the document that Martin has been
Oh.
grabbing questions for, but I noticed that Question Colon has suggested to Garwar that was it the ropers on the sketching hour, maybe, which
Maybe that's
that
it.
is also true. You might be, because we did pick Roper recently-ish. So there might be that as well. For those that don't know, the Sketching Hour is our Wednesday show in where I host a show where we have these we have awesome artists from Codename Entertainment, Alexis and Michelle, and often some guests who, at the beginning of the show, we roll on some tables and randomly pick a monster, an adjective, and a cute animal from those tables by rolling for them. And then the artists literally create a new creature right in front of you while I work with chat to, often we just chat, but the idea is we come up with like a backstory and names and stuff like that. And some of those creatures have ended up in Idle Champions. So that's been a lot of fun.
Amazing.
All right.
I mean, Tia, what? Hello.
Yeah.
Tia, what's up? Oh,
yeah.
So much fun to see. It's a Tia, what?
Yep. I have a weird amount of pride about those creatures that have shown up, despite the fact that I was not the one who made them, but I was there for some of the process.
You were there for their inception.
I helped.
Yeah.
And I just found a bunch of places that I missed black. That is an actual place I missed black. Fortunately, my black is still wet.
There you go. Do.
Yeah. There was a whole crevasse that apparently I just never saw. An entire crevasse.
Don't forget the crevasse.
And now back to the dry brushing.
Now back to your regular program. Dry brush.
Also, thank you, Lurking Rider, for the shout out about the art I did on the extra live stream. That was a lot of fun. I know everybody was saying, "Oh, you shouldn't go in," because I was saying this is not gonna look good, especially next to what Alexis and Michelle are gonna do, But everyone's like, "Oh, you shouldn't doubt yourself, or you shouldn't go in being down on yourself." I'm like, "No, this is just realistic expectations," and it's kind of freeing to know that like the thing that I'm doing doesn't have to be good; it just has to be entertaining to watch and fun.
Exactly,
and that's kind of a fun place to be in, where the goal isn't to be good at something. The goal is to be entertaining while doing it. So
there you go.
So it's just kind of fun to be like, all right, I'm going to do some ridiculous things with this piece of art because I don't have to worry about it looking coherent.
Tia, Did you enjoy the creation of it? Yes, mission accomplished.
Whereas this show, because it's a learning process, I do
Right.
feel like I still have the, hey, as long as I'm having fun, I'm doing it right mentality. But also part of the fun in this show is learning how to do things.
Mm,
So thank
there
you,
you go.
V.
You're welcome. You're welcome. All right,
Yeah.
I am slowly but surely getting there. I think I'm almost done
Yeah,
with this
there's
color, and then we will shift up a tone.
trying to get the portions under the final section of armpits
Yeah.
is proving to be a bit of a challenge.
All right, I'm going to leave it at that and just give it a heartbeat to dry. Well, more than a heartbeat. Give it a little breather to dry, because you don't want to go in wet paint over wet paint and then we start pulling paint off the mini. That you don't want to do.
Yeah.
So just going to let that sit for a minute.
Yeah, whereas I'm doing a last look through to see, okay, did I miss any
Duplicate it,
spots, or
duplicate it.
is it just I'm afraid I'm painting instead of dry brushing?
Aw, thank you, Lurking Rider. And yes, this show is equal parts educational, zen, and hilarious, and I adore it. That was really sweet of you. Thank you.
All right, I think I am also at the point of, if I do any more, I'm just painting. So put it down.
There you go. Down
All
it
right.
goes. Now I still have a decent amount left. So what I'm
Me
going to
too.
do is just add more of the Stonewall Gray to create the next level
Okay.
of light gray. So I'm going to put in another about probably a nickel worth circle size. Measurements
A
are so
decent amount.
precise. Yeah.
Yeah. An American
mix that.
nickel. Yeah.
An American
one
nickel.
of these days you'll be able to say, put in a loony's worth, and all of
I
our Canadian
both
friends
times
will be
I have
happy.
been in Canada, I have not gotten any type of change or cash, and I keep forgetting. And normally I'm much better at that. But
Well, we're also at a
busy.
point in where I think a lot of people don't carry cash anymore.
And that's just
have
it. Yeah.
Or if they do, it's like an emergency $5 kind of
Yeah.
thing. So it makes sense.
Yeah.
And while loonies and toonies are gorgeous, they're also big. Especially the loonies. They're chunky, and they take up a lot of pocket space.
Okay.
All right. Oh, we're about to get some new people in from the game, so I'll remind everybody, thank you for joining us. We are painting a Candy Corn Roper that is going to be a charity giveaway for the Wava one-shot that is happening next week. And oh yeah, there we go.
Yes.
DM'd by the wonderful B. Dave Walters. If you do have any questions about that game, although once again we're hosting it, but we're not directly in it, so we'll answer what questions that we can. But if you also have questions about mini painting or Idle Champions, we are more than happy to try to answer what we can, including AZ Smith 2610, who asks what a loonie and a toonie is. They are Canadian coins, and they sound ridiculous. Absolutely, like you hear that and you think, what? That's not real. But yeah, and loonies especially, they're very pretty because they're a two-toned coin, or at least they were. I haven't seen one in a very long time, but they kind of look like if you took a nickel and made it bigger and stuck a brass. If you took a nickel and made it bigger and stuck a penny in the middle of it, it almost looks like two coins in one. So they're very cool to see, and they are Canadian currency.
There you go.
Coin currency, because then they also have paper currency, which is no longer paper, it's plastic.
Plastic, yeah. Okay, so
and
actually,
all of it is going to change soon.
I ended up taking off my bracelet because my swatching is going to start coating my bracelet, which I don't want to do. So now you can see black, slate gray. Now we're doing a medium gray.
Yeah. Same thing all over?
Same thing. The whole
awesome.
thing. The whole thing. And also same directional pull. Pull from base up is the direction you want your brush to go.
Okay.
You don't have to start from the base, but you have to make sure your direction of the brush stems from the base.
Okay. There we go.
Yep.
Devil Crayon says a toonie is a $2 join worth of 2 loonies. Yeah. When you're talking about Canadian currency, it really can sound funny. They're fun words to say, but it is honest currency. But I can't remember the last time I even used cash on anything, so I haven't seen one in a very long time. And Luke is very interested to find out what the new money is going to look like. So
that's true.
He may
Yep.
he may at some point just, go visit family, just to visit family and pick up some new dollars. Just to be like, what does my money look like now?
Yep, they're actual legit names, not made up.
Yes, I have Google to back me up on this one.
Right?
I mean, when you think about the cliche Canadian accent, it actually makes a little more sense. When you're thinking about how they talk, and you're going to go over and you're going to get a loonie,
Yeah.
Like, it just kind of feels right.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that.
My Canadian always turns into Minnesota, though, so I feel bad.
I mean, I think it depends on what part of Canada, too, because they do influence each other here and there.
Absolutely. And the that cliche of an accent is definitely more the heartland of Canada. You're not going to Vancouver and hearing too many people who are hardcore. Oh, what you two for there, eh? Yeah. Not so much.
Yeah, exactly.
And my Newfoundland is real bad, but Luke has an excellent Newfoundland accent. I have to learn just so I can pull that out in a D&D game one of these days.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Yeah.
That'd be a lot of fun.
Just a fun cadence.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not necessarily good at accents, but stuff like that has a really good cadence helps a lot.
Yeah, it is. It's unique take on things. No. Runaway Roper. Runaway Roper.
Oh. I thought a cat had appeared again.
Nope, it was my hand got caught on one of the tentacles and the Roper's like, bye! No. We're not
going
done.
for a ride. Time to go for a ride.
Watch me not do what you need me to do. Bye!
All right. It's definitely getting harder to see spots that I may have missed. Which is, I guess, good.
I was going to say, that's a good thing.
Regina says, Franco-English sounds funny, too. Yeah, I mean, and all of it is, if it's a different accent than what you're used to, it can definitely have that moment of, wait, what? Trying to just get used to the cadence. So yeah. I grew up in Buffalo as well, so I'm slightly more used to those accents than I am to, say, stuff in the South. Yep.
I mean, I got asked a lot when I was a kid because my parents are from upstate New York. And, my oat and roof are obviously not the American.
They got a bit of the
and roof. Out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So there's a touch of it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go down to the restaurant and check things out and make sure everything's all set and ready to go. It's like, yep.
Yes. I have a little less of the accent and a little more of just the outright words. So it's pop. And A does show up in, like, non-ironically, A shows up in my speech on a regular basis.
Yeah.
But I also had parents who were from New York City, so I was getting Buffalo blend. Midwest and New York City Buffalo.
Oh boy. Yep.
The hardcore New York accent that had been blunted over many, many decades of living in Buffalo, because Buffalo is way different than New York City. So
yes, absolutely.
I'm channeling my aunt when I go into my New York, when I'm either my aunt or my uncle. Right. Sometimes mama, because like when she's calling the folks,
influence.
that's she
It
gets a, you know,
happens.
yeah, you kind of go back into it a little bit. And so that's, I'm like secondhand New York City, but that's what I'm thinking of. It's like the last time I talked to my aunt. I'm
Like,
gonna get, oh, go ahead.
no, I was gonna. I find if I've watched like reality shows that take place in the South for a bit too long, because especially like Texan-based ones, the Texan twang will resurface every so often, especially if I'm
Yeah.
tired.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's where I basically learned how to speak as a child. But
So
I
yeah,
also have family like all over the freaking country, so you kind of turn into a little mimic and you pick up everyone's accent and just kind of riff off of them.
yeah, an accent polyglot.
Yes. Yep.
So my parents have their 50th wedding anniversary coming up in April, and I'm going to go out to see them when it happens because we're going to put on a whole shindig, and it will be the first time that I will have seen that side of the that my side of the family essentially 7 or 8 years, because they're all on the East Coast. Well,
Yeah.
because we were planning stuff and then pandemic.
So that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. So we're trying to be out there for a full week and see everybody. And I am both excited and terrified what my accent is going to be when I come back from that.
Just a whole bunch of different things mushed together for a little bit.
Yep. All right. I think I am done with this round of
sweet
dry brushing.
Okay.
Then I've caught myself just painting.
I mean, that can happen. So what we'll do now is we're going to go to dead white. And we're going to add dead white to this mixed gray to make a very light gray. And I do need to shake this, I can tell. Alrighty.
I got a plug. There we go.
Why is it with the plugs lately?
I think it's, at least for me, it's because the weather has changed so much. And while I have my paints in a dry place, as dry as it can be in Seattle, a dry place and a place out of the sun, the temperature and the humidity has rapidly changed over the last week or two. So for me, that's what I'm gonna blame it on.
Yep. No, weather has a lot to do with behavior of your paints and what it does and how it's doing. I definitely need more white.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
I'm also at the point where, so we've now done this show for, we've made it a year.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah. So I'm at the point where I'm considering, especially for some of the colors in this kit that we use a lot of refreshing my paint stock. I need some more white. And I haven't decided yet if I'm just going to buy individual bottles of the things I'm getting low on, or if I'm just going to buy the kit again.
Right.
Because it's so convenient.
Yeah.
It's like the white, as I shake it, there's
you can hear, yeah.
You
can absolutely hear the difference from when we first had these going.
Oh yeah. But hey, with the number of 47 episodes and a couple dozen minis at this point, I'm pretty happy.
Oh, you definitely get mileage with this stuff. Okay, so let me swatch it.
Let's see. Yeah, I think I need some more white. I'm almost there.
Okay. This will be the last time we do a mixing up, and then we're going to jump to the dead white itself after this.
Okay.
Just an FYI. But that is doo-doo-doo. Ba 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 ba. Alrighty.
Yeah, there we go.
Better?
Yeah.
Better?
Rough. Although I think this paper plate is
has seen better days.
Yep. No, it's still holding.
We're good.
I was doing some aggressive mixing, and I could kind of, I don't know if you could tell, but it's starting to press through a little bit right there.
A little bit. Yeah, so we're done mixing after this one. So now we're going to change the direction of the brush. We're not pulling from the base up. We're going to pull from the top down.
Ah, okay.
Yep. Basically start playing off of the highlights now. We were doing lowlights before. Now we're doing highlights on the mini.
All right, so I'm gonna turn this upside down so that I can pull in the same direction but have it be in the opposite direction.
There you go.
Because I feel like I've gotten into the groove of this way, so I think I'm going to keep that groove.
'Cause it's in the heart. Do, 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 do. I'm done.
I mean, I would love you to keep going, but Twitch will be unhappy.
Twitch will be like,
Yeah.
Beg your pardon.
As a Smith 2601 says, I'm South African. My wife is South Korean. My son is obviously both, but we live in England. So he has this sort of South African Korean British accent. Poor kid. I mean, that can be rough as a kid, but that also sounds so uniquely wonderful, right? That's cool.
I say that honestly sounds kind of lovely.
And definitely way more expressive than just your normal American or English accent, because English in general is just not necessarily a musical language. See Ben Stein for proof. Citation needed, Ben Stein.
Bueller.
Yeah, I was working on learning German for a while, and also
that's an emphatic language.
And a lot of other languages not only have much more musicality to them, but what emphasis you put where can change the meaning of the word drastically.
Absolutely, yeah.
So it was both hard and really interesting to learn that kind of stuff.
Yep. This is through.
Oh yeah, a bunch of people are coming on in. If you do have any questions, make sure you go ahead and put question in big capital letters before your question so Martin can grab it, so that I don't miss it while we're hardcore dry brushing. And yeah, we're taking questions about painting. We're taking questions about candy corn. We're taking questions about Idle Champions. Although I do know that Garwar's Guide to Everything is going to be after us. And so if we don't catch your question, I am positive Garwar is going to be able to help you. Yeah. Whoops.
Absolutely. What happened?
I just hit my light with my paintbrush.
Oh, yeah, I've been hitting my camera so often. Whoopsie. Sorry, earthquake.
Yeah, I've only got a little bit of paint on it so far. That's just a touch.
That's not too bad. Tonsil time.
I mean, this is my old ring light that up until recently, when I'm like, this might work really well for paint and slide, has just been sitting in my closet. So, you know what? If it gets a little painted, that's fine.
Yeah, and honestly, just some rubbing alcohol should pull it off with the ring light for you.
That's true.
Yeah. All right, so that is the highlights now. Starting to go into the roper.
Yeah.
See all that lovely texture and detail going into it. Yeah, I need to get the tentacles though. And this time I'm going to pull, again, opposite direction. I'm going to pull, what was I doing before? I'm going to pull from the tip down to the base, as opposed to the base to the tip. This direction.
In the opposite direction.
Yep.
Zalusi1 wants to know an example of such a word, which, you know what? That is fair to ask. And unfortunately, I can't think of a German word. I can think of a couple Russian words. I'm trying to remember it's been literally about 10 years since I was trying to learn any German, and I didn't get far enough to be able to speak it fluently. Yeah.
I know some German phrases because of singing, like with German opera and stuff. Yeah.
Now, the word that I keep thinking of is
Stimme gut zu klagen. Like, I don't remember what it means. So something about bells.
Wait, say it again.
In stiller Nacht zu ersten Wacht ein Stimme gut zu klagen.
Something about the bells at night.
Yeah.
Yeah. My German is poor.
Yeah.
For reference, the Russian word that I'm thinking of is spasiba, which the emphasis needs to go on the second syllable. And I've been informed very strenuously that if you don't spasiba, that it almost sounds illegible. Illegible is the wrong word. It almost sounds unintelligible if you don't put the emphasis in the right place.
Interesting.
Yeah, and there were a couple of German words like that emphasis on the correct syllable.
There's definitely a couple words in Italian where you don't want to mix up how elongated your end sound is. Because one means one thing and one means something else entirely different. I'm not going to say it, but Italian has a couple of words we have to be careful with.
See, this is the moment we need Kelly, aka the Upper Geek, to come on and help.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lurking Writer's right. English has a lot of redundancies built in. English is also, especially American English, is a very... It's a mutt of languages. It comes from a bunch of different places, which is why the rules are everywhere.
Make
everywhere. I will say, Azimuth2601 is putting some words into chat, which I'm not going to say, but I don't know what they are. They might be very innocent words, but I will ask, be careful with putting non-English words into chat.
Yes, please.
Please be careful. For not because you're doing anything wrong, but our the Moobot will be angry.
Yes. Don't anger Moob.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So ambulance and butterfly. Well, see, like I said, it's probably completely...
that's a little video clip thing. There was a little video floating around of it was it Spanish, English, and German? And they were going through different words, and Schmetterling and
Krankenwagen.
Yeah. Were two of the words that were used. Yeah.
Was it one of those, like, in English this sounds fine, in Spanish it sounds fine, and in German it's ridiculous?
It's like, what? Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, the Krankenwagen. I do remember Luke telling me about that word.
Yeah.
So. Schmetterling.
Butterfly.
Yeah.
Farfalle.
Echelon 6023 says, I told a coworker once he had a nice jacket in Spanish and he got this weird expression on his face. Apparently it means something in Cuban slang. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm playing in a charity one-shot. It's next week, I think. Is it? Ooh. Yeah. Coming up on Wednesday. I'm playing in a charity one-shot with a bunch of awesome people in the Expanse TTRPG. Which is a system it's a D6 system, I think. It's a game I haven't played before, and it is a show and book series I know only about secondhand of a lot of people saying it's awesome. But I am always excited to learn about new systems and get a chance to play them. So I need to watch a couple of episodes because I'm playing a belter. And for those unfamiliar with the show, which I am also, so grain of salt everything I'm about to say, but the belter language is a mixture of Creole, Russian, German, with like all kinds of other words thrown in there just because of the history of this language. And so it's got it's a wonderful cadence, but it definitely has that flow that you kind of need to get into. I am not going to even try to accurately portray it. I'm just trying to get like enough of the flavor so that I'm giving it justice. But I watched a video about the guy who works on I see we're doing Dead White.
Yep.
I watched a video on the guy who came up with the belter language for the show, which isn't like a full-on conlang. It's basically a bunch of words that he pulls from all sorts of places. And he talked about how there's several words in there that he uses that he grabs them to use them as, naughty words.
Oh.
But he can't use real naughty words even in another language because, of course, if you use a German naughty word and your show is broadcast in German, there are problems. So he was talking about the etymology of some of the words that he picked in order for them to be the naughty words, and kind of the history and the story behind it. And it was really interesting. And on top of that, it made me think about, yeah, you got to be careful with words in different languages.
Yeah.
As D&D players, because that's often one of the things that we go to for like names.
Yep.
And interesting sounding words is we'll go to a different language, and you gotta be a little careful about that.
Mm-hmm. I use those for Easter eggs.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I purpose pick out certain words for certain things. Is like, okay, if you pick this up, you've got a little hint, a little Easter egg there.
Yep. I've done that recently for, well, at this point it's not recently. For Children of Erte, for my character there, I've got some Yiddish in there.
Yeah. That's fun.
Yeah. But those are also words that I know are not bad words. I'm not looking for
right. That's
words.
Exactly it.
Yeah. So it's a little easier to go with.
Yeah.
And just since I was talking and you were being very nice and not interrupting me, I'm assuming that we're doing the white everywhere.
Yep, the white everywhere, same thing, pulling from top to bottom to really start placing highlights on this.
Awesome.
Yeah. I think this is where it's going to make the texture all pop and really be evident.
Did I say the wrong word?
I don't remember.
Oh, I'm seeing people in chat talk about entomology versus entomology, and that the spelling is different for one is the study of insects and one is about words.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of that too. We get into some interesting discussions here on Paint and Slay.
We do.
I saw someone at the beginning of the show asking, what does this have to do with Idle Champions? And you know what? Sometimes we get off on these kind of tangents, and it's easy to ask that question. In this case, most of the time what we're painting are creatures
yeah,
that you're finding in Idle Champions. Sometimes you're fighting, and most of the time you're fighting, but sometimes not.
I think if
we've only done the one dragon.
Yeah. Not saying it's happening. Let me proceed this by saying, not saying this is happening, but if for some reason Helen actually ever made it into the game, I don't know if she would actually be a monster to fight, or more of like a, hey, they went that way.
No, Helen would never be an antagonist. Helen would absolutely be there to help.
Yeah.
I could never see Helen being like, rawr.
No, that's just it.
And she'd now like, I'm here to destroy you.
Friends!
That'd be a fun conversation to have in the middle of a cave with all the champions and Helen.
Right?
Having that, wait a second, why is that Roper smiling at us?
Did you know Ropers could smile and hug?
Mm-hmm. I knew they could hug, but I didn't think we wanted their hugs. I thought that's what we were trying to avoid.
Right? The Roper's Embrace. There's your adventure story title. The Roper's Embrace.
There you go. That's your adventure story title or your romance novel. One of the two. Maybe both. Mm-hmm. Maybe that is the romance novel you're trying to find in the adventure.
There you go. Little did you know.
Mm-hmm. That's actually not something I've ever done, is have the search for... I've had the search for books as part of a plot, but not specifically the romance novel. That could be cool. That could be a fun twist on that.
It could.
I am always a fan of taking the what has become the cliche or the trope and doing it and having like a little bit of fun with it, or just doing it and leaning hardcore into it.
Yeah.
Like, yep. You're going to meet in a tavern, but this tavern is going to be so extra.
It's a tavern.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And you're meeting in this tavern, but But you're all now meeting there because you're going to work in this tavern. So.
Arg.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm definitely at the point now where I keep thinking I'm finding spots that I didn't paint that are just highlights.
Yeah.
Because it's awesome, but I need to just stop thinking about the black.
Mm-hmm. That's just it. The black is the base. We're building up the different tones.
Rawr.
So.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on, I need to shift.
Oh, but
Doodle-doo.
Oh, I've been told by Devilcran to look for the Lang Belta phrase book when you're preparing for your Expanse show. Okay. I will do that.
Interesting.
Is it a actual text or does it come with video and audio help? Because
that's a good question.
I feel like the video audio, having audio is going to help tremendously.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead and DM me a link. I can't get into my DMs or whisper me on Twitch, and that way I've got it for later. I will definitely take a look. Because yeah, my goal in this is like learn enough so that it is obvious that I'm being respectful and not making fun of this, because that there's no way I'm going to be able to do it 100% justice. I just want to make sure that I've got enough of it naturally there to pull from, that it feels that it's obvious that I'm being respectful. So,
right.
Which is exciting. Like, it is super cool to learn about these kind of new game systems and everything.
Yeah.
I did a lot of this kind of research before I started Radiant Stories, because a couple of the adventures that we were doing included lots of words and names that were native, that had the native accent that are not American, that were based off of other languages or just outright words. And so fortunately, the authors of that book are amazing. And I highly recommend Journeys to the Radiant Citadel, but every single one has literally a pronunciation guide of, here are some of the words that you're going to see that might be pronounced differently than what an American English person is expecting. So I did spend a lot of time before the show. Sholoeats Quintly, Sholoeats Quintly, Sholoeats Quintly. Talakate Kolo, Talakate Kolo, Talakate Kolo. Just practicing so that it could be on the tip of my tongue.
Right.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Lexinum says Radiant Citadel, one of my friends helped with that and I love it. Oh, that's so cool. I love this adventure book, or the setting book. It's amazing. If you haven't picked up Journeys through the Radiant Citadel, 100%. Even if you never run any of the adventures, which they're amazing, even if you just pick it up for the setting alone, it is brilliant.
Yeah.
So good.
It's a beautiful collaboration.
Yeah. But yeah, that's just one of the things you got to do as a DM. And also it's kind of one of the joys as a DM of like, hey, I'm going to use this word. I'm going to use this phrase. I'm going to have this in my game and I want to make sure that I get it right. Or even if I get it wrong, that it's obvious that I'm trying to get it right.
Right.
People can tell the difference between, oh, you've practiced this and you just had a whoopsie and didn't quite get it that time, versus people who are being nasty about it. Yeah. Oh, but then when you get it, when you just drop a Sholoeats Quintly on people, oh, it's so good. It's so good. And then you get to learn all sorts of other stuff. Like I learned all sorts of stuff about that dog. Cholos. I knew nothing about Cholos before I picked up Journeys to the Radiant Citadel. And then I got to watch a whole bunch of videos on YouTube all about this amazing dog. It was so fun.
That is great. Really and truly.
Sorry, I'm enjoying a stretch. Oh.
No, I completely understand. I'm at the point where I'm going to finish this tentacle and then do a really quick stretch because
Mm.
I've hunched over and I should not have. But this goes to show you.
Yep.
You can see all these fun little nooks and crannies and details with the highlights and the highlights happening. It really helps give some good depth into your mini paint, especially once we start doing the glaze work on this one. So this is what Helen looked like before I gave Helen color. Okay. It's sort of like Helen in the morning. Helen before she has her morning ritual of getting her makeup and her outfits going.
There you go. Does a Roper outfit just look like a big sock? Is it just like a one piece that you just
totally
pull on?
Absolutely.
And
it's like a hoodie and body stocking all in one.
Ooh. And then you don't just get a pair of gloves. You get three pairs of gloves.
Yes, you have to.
Yeah.
Now I'm thinking like, how could I dress up like a Roper for Halloween? I'm not going to.
The hard part is dressing up like a Roper and not looking like a spider. It'd have to all be in the colors because I think once you get that many arms, tentacles, whatever.
Yeah.
Well, and people start going spider, which, for Halloween makes sense.
Yeah. You can go. I'm not going to. Please don't be on the lookout for a costume a la Roper. I don't have the time. It's not there.
No. Kinrevip asks, "Hey, Lauren, you never denied having a sweet tooth." I'm a candy fiend. Absolutely. I'm one of those people who I eat the stuff that other people think is either disgusting or too sweet. I love that stuff. I definitely have the taste for it. McDonald's is test offering a new product in one Kentucky area, Krispy Kreme donuts. So I have had Krispy Kreme donuts. It's an interesting idea of like going to McDonald's to get a Krispy Kreme donut. That's a weird thing. Although I don't really eat at McDonald's. The Krispy Kreme donuts are good though. Like if you can get them when they're still warm.
Low and they're like, what is it? They turn like a certain part of the sign on, so like they're fresh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have had the pleasure of being in the South at points where I've been able to have a couple Krispy Kreme donuts. And what I also like about them, and I think lives up to the hype, is they're light. Like it's very easy to get donuts that are like brick cake.
Yeah. Dense.
And Krispy Kreme. Yeah, real dense. Yeah. And Krispy Kreme are super light and warm and very, very good.
Yes. They're like a hug. Okay, so I still have some dead white, and we do want some dead white. We're going to create a glaze with the dead white and apply it to the eyeball.
All right.
So I'm going to do a drop of my water into what I have left of my dead white. And a glaze is not quite a wash, because a wash, like the pigment is almost translucent. Or transparent, and you want this to be more translucent.
So somewhere in the middle.
Yeah. So let me see here. Testing it right now.
There we go. I think I got it.
Yeah. Mine's still a little bit thicker than I want it to be.
Question Colin says we have Krispy Kreme donuts in the Pacific Northwest. I think we do. I think they've gotten everywhere. I do try to avoid donut shops though, because I'm 45 years old. I need to watch what I'm eating. I'm seeing swatches. Ooh.
Yeah, I'm just testing to see how it streaks out, and that is about where I want it. Okay, so I'm going to apply this into the eyeball. A thin coating. We're not looking to layer this on heavily. We want this to be a nice thin coat because we want these shadows to play through for us. So I'm basing this off of those. Have you seen those? They're like those Jawbreaker gumball candies where they look like eyeballs.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? And they're also out during Halloween.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm basing it off of one of those. So we are going to have some white iris, and then we're going with the bright green that these eyeballs have. Or not the sclera, not the iris, the sclera. And the iris will be that bright green that these candy eyeballs have. It was fun to just sit there and do like a popular Halloween candy search. There you go. And see what was floating around out there.
I learned recently about yards of candy from the Taskmaster.
What?
I didn't know a yard of candy was a thing.
Oh,
until
like amount like measurement?
Yes. I just learned about this. So yeah, we were watching Taskmaster, and one of the prizes, one of the things that one of the people brought forth as a prize task was a yard of Twix. And he said yard of Twix. And there's a British show. And so I'm kind of used to them saying things and me not necessarily understanding references.
Right.
And then it was all about the disappointment of something. So he had bought a yard of Twix, and it ended up there was a piece of wood in the yard of Twix. And I'm like, what is a yard of Twix? I don't understand. And it literally is just a yard of candy of Twix. And so what he was expecting was to open up this package and have a bunch of Twix bars.
Yeah.
And he apparently opened up this package, and it was a piece of wood, which by itself is a weird thing. But then literally I'm like, you can get candy in yards? I had no idea there was a thing.
That's interesting. That is very interesting. Okay, so
also,
now I'm going to go.
Yes, Taskmaster is awesome. I'm sorry, what?
Yeah. Going to go for bloody red. And we're going to do like those nice little veins on the eyeball. So I'm using a detail brush. I'm going to do very thin red lines, just squiggly lines. And you want to make sure you're pulling from the eyelids into the center of the eye.
Okay. Yeah, Emsta, I love little Alex Horn from Taskmaster. Yeah, Taskmaster has been so much fun to watch. We're on series 11. And it's just been a joy. And now the point is, now I'm going to be quiet as I'm trying to do this.
Yeah, I went quiet too. I'm like,
all right, chat, talk amongst yourselves. I'll give you a topic. If you are a fan of Taskmaster, tell us what your favorite task is that you can think of. And if you are not a fan of Taskmaster, tell us what kind of yard of candy you would like to have. Meanwhile, we're going to do some veins.
I will be really happy when the weekend is quiet and I'm not hearing construction or lawnmowers happening. The past 3 days, they've been like literally tearing up and redoing driveways in my neighborhood.
Aww.
And now it's the yard guys have come, and I'm like, I just want to hear the birds, please.
They'll be back. It'll happen.
I did get a bird feeder.
Oh, nice.
And I have a chipmunk and a squirrel who keep showing up. The chipmunk's name is Tarantino, just because. Reminds me of Quentin Tarantino. I can't explain it. If you meet the chipmunk, you'll know why. I'll try and get video of this chipmunk. It's like, you have no fear and you want everything epic in your life. I get it.
All right. I'm here for this chipmunk.
Yep. And then there's this squirrel, which we have yet to really name. It's this big old squirrel. It's almost the size of Rory, my cat. I'm not even kidding. Big old squirrel. And then we have a bunch of different little birds that show up. You know, tufted titmouse, and then we have a black-eyed junco and things like that, and they just sort of show up and say hi. But what's been funny is my cats have been watching it like they have cat TV all day. Because it's
I mean, they kind of do, right?
And they just sit there and they're just like... It's like, okay. Yeah. They are entertained. Shall I entertain you? I don't have to. Nature is doing it for me.
Did you pick up a specific kind of feed to get that wide of a variety? Or were you just getting bird feed and the squirrels and the chipmunks are extra?
I just got the what's it called? Wildlife bird seed type of thing from Walmart. And it's just, there's a whole bunch of new friends now.
Hey.
Yeah. I will take it.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I don't know if I'll get up to Luke's level of taming and interacting with them, but the kids sure are plotting about that one.
Listen, let me speak from experience.
I know.
It's probably a good thing.
Yeah.
I mean, you've seen the one that tried to break into the apartment one day.
Right?
Like,
Yep. No,
Let's
thank
see.
you.
Let's see what Candy and Taskmaster have been coming up. Garwar says it's probably a good thing I can't buy a yard of almond joy. The Lurking Rider says you can get 1 kilogram bars of chocolate too. That I've seen, or like the extra large, like Reese's peanut butter cups that are just like, here's a pie, but it's a Reese's peanut butter cup. But like the idea of a yard was completely new to me.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna go back to the white. Just make sure your red is dry.
Oh,
and I'm gonna do another thin layer. I'm actually gonna remove some of the paint from my brush.
I'm gonna give my eyeball another second or two.
Yeah.
Amanam says the current world record holder for the fastest consumption of a yard of beer is the former Australian Prime Minister, Bob Hawke. I mean, hey, everybody's got to have a hobby, right?
Right.
Bay Neon says the Christmas favorite in stores in the UK, the giant Toblerone.
Oh, God,
yes. Oh, yeah. I've seen those. They're amazing.
They are incredible.
Lesh68 says Truleve chocolate. Truleve? I'm not familiar with that brand, but sounds good. Trullieve. Truleve? Am I pronouncing that right? That is a new kind of chocolate to me. Lexinum is asking about Taskmaster. It is a British panel show, kind of a panel show. It's formatted like a game show, but all the people that are on it are professional comedians, presenters kind of thing. And they are given silly tasks to do, and they get judged, or they win silly prizes for it. It's supposed to be very lighthearted, but they do get very competitive. It is quite funny. All right, I know you can find the vast majority of the episodes on the Taskmaster YouTube, so you can officially watch it.
So you can see by putting that little extra glaze of white on, it has muted the red, so it's not these very harsh red lines, but it looks more like it is part of the sclera. There's the word I want. Of the eyeball. Words are pretty.
Hey, we've been doing words for 2 hours every once in a while, you know?
It's the words. Now we're going to have fun with doing the eyeball. So I'm going to go for dark green and paint the iris. Not iris.
Not our previous iris.
This is not your typical roper, folks.
Oh, fuck.
This is a candy corn roper.
Ah!
Uh-oh.
I just spilled water. It's okay. I spilled
just water. Hopefully not the bad water.
I spilled the cup of water that I've been using for watering down things. So
okay, so the clean water.
Yeah. We're almost at the end of the show anyway.
Yeah.
I was due.
Oh, my time has come.
Listen. I've made it this long. It's not Nuln Oil, but it's something. Friends, be careful where you put your water.
Yep.
I'm just happy it's the clean water.
There you go.
Also, this is why I have a whole thing of paper towels nearby.
Right? Keep them close. Keep your paints close and your paper towels closer.
Just thinking that. You know what? This deserves more candy corn.
Oh, I love the pumpkin one. See, I'm got the candy corn now.
Yeah, I got
the pumpkin style are my favorite. Not even kidding.
I got the mix so that I can.
Yes, the fall mix.
So good. So good. All right, I'm just gonna make sure that nothing fell on the computer. I will be right back. I'm just gonna make sure.
And I'm just gonna keep painting as circle as I can get it. At the iris here. Yes. See, after painting iris, now I feel like I'm saying the wrong word, even though I know it is iris. Oh. But this does lead to another fun painting tip. Do make sure your water containers have heavy bases. It does help.
Okay, I'm back. We're all good.
Oh, yay.
Thank you, everybody, for your patience as I.
No having to break out bags of rice.
Yeah. Well, it was on the same side as my as the tower,
Okay.
but it spilled in a very not towerly direction, so that's why I
Oof.
didn't quite
Okay,
panic.
good.
But I just wanted to make sure because I have other things
Yeah.
I need to do with this computer. So
Yeah.
I'm sorry. We are green. We are doing
Yes.
the iris. Okay.
Yep, the iris.
Cool. Mm. Thanks everyone for sticking with me through that. May that be the worst thing to happen to me today.
Right? May you spill your thinning water away from your PC. Sounds like
Right?
a really weird Irish blessing.
And now that part of my desk, very clean.
It's clean. There you go.
Super clean. Mm-hmm.
Impromptu cleaning. Okay, now I'm gonna have fun. And I'm gonna take some of the sun yellow and mix it in with my dark green to make a lime green. Because again, this candy, gumball candy, looks like an eyeball. It's a very vivid green. So we're gonna do some fun striations in the iris with a lime green, basically.
Ooh.
But basically, you need to make sure you're pulling these striations from the edge of the iris into the center because we'll then cover up the crossover with the pupil.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pupil. Just gonna mix with the
Alright,
base of
there.
colors.
I have officially caught up.
Ta-da! I need more
Yay.
yellow. More yellow. Are they done?
Zalos one says, you don't have one of those disposable computers? Nah, I've been thinking about getting one of those, but I figured for the environment, I would get one of the, like you get the contacts that are the disposable contacts, but you go for the 2-week disposable, not the dailies.
Right?
That's what I got.
Yeah. There you go. Okay, so I have a nice...
That'd be funny. Nice
vivid green. So I'm going to just start pulling.
I need to wait for my eyeball to dry a little bit more, so I'm going to catch up on, let's see. That was the Toblerone. Echelon 6023 says there's a candy shop in LA called Rocket Fizz that has everything from your childhood, all kinds of stuff from other countries, and pretty much every kind of root beer and ginger ale you could think of. Oh, sheesh, that sounds amazing.
Sounds dangerous.
That's dangerously amazing. Kinder Vip says Taskmaster. My favorite tasks are the ones in the lab where there's a big hint under the table. You think by now every player would check there every time. Maybe, but what I do also know, as someone who is a performer and a presenter, when you're on the spot like that, it is very easy to just, especially if you've got a time limit, it is very easy to be like, whoops, I gotta, and just run forward. And it's so I never blame any of them when they just forget to do something like that.
You're in a totally different mind space when you're doing that, like under pressure stuff.
Under
pressure, looking down on me. No, I'm gonna stop.
Yeah. Oh, and Question Colon is asking about Be Never Ending. Yes, episode 11 of Radiant Stories is tonight at 4:00 Pacific. 2 hours and 15 minutes from now. We're getting to the end. We're getting to the end. All right, I think mine is dry. So now I'm going to catch up and get that extra special dark center.
And that kind of gives you a more realistic iris by doing that dual coloring. So you can see like the dark tones and the lighter tones like you would see in an actual iris.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come here, you.
Now we have our eyeball. The eyeball is almost done. We just have like one little dot of white to put on. but I definitely want the black to dry for that one. So I'm going to give that just a little minute.
Oh, the excitement of the dot of white, which means I get to pull out my toothpicks. I'm excited.
Oh, that's right. Your toothpicks.
I'm a fan.
I've
become a huge fan of this technique.
Toothpick convert.
I am.
Oh, actually, hold on. Do I
actually?
No, I'm actually. Do I have, because I have spoken about this in the past. Or no. Okay, maybe not.
Nope, you don't have the thing?
Well, because I was talking about how I have nail art kits, and there are some really great tools in nail art kits that you can get in the beauty aisle, and they're great for making little dots, but I think that is downstairs with the rest of my craft supplies that are in the basement, so I don't have them right next to me. I need to remember to bring them upstairs next time. All right.
I've gotten used to the drawer I have all of my paint and slay supplies. I just put on the chair right here. So Hi.
Hello.
I'm a little more out of focus, but that's okay.
Nice to see you.
All right, dot of white time.
Dot of white. Oh, they're back. I got excited. It got quiet all of a sudden. I'm like, yes, they're done for the day. No, they are not.
And I'm assuming this is a dot directly in the center?
A little off center. It doesn't have to be directly in the center. So I'm going to put it kind of up and there. Like that.
Okay.
Just gives the eye a little bit of life. The glare is not on it, so you can see. Just like that.
Done.
Ta-da!
Yay!
All right, we made some good progress today.
Absolutely.
We got the base down of the black. We worked on our lowlights and our highlights to get the shadow layers going.
I don't know how well.
Eyeball is done. Eyeball is all set, which means we're going to have some fun getting extra color onto Helen's friend. Get some extra color going here on not Helen. That's what I was calling. I'm like, that wasn't Helen. It was not Helen.
Not Helen.
But if you were to do everything to get it going for Helen with this eyeball, what I did with the eyeball there is I actually put in a lot more red veins in the eyes because, Angry Roper I was going for and it didn't stick. So it's a lot more vein work in the eyes and then putting that same coat. And then for the eyeball itself, what I did was a dark purple. And then I went in with a lavender tone to do the striations in the eyeballs. And the iris is more of a slit, like a cat eye. And then I put the dot towards the lower bottom. So if you wanted to get the eye more like our Helen, those are the colors you'd be using as opposed to the
more green. Friendly one that we've got going on here.
Yeah, exactly. So that's how you would approach the eyeball for Helen. The mouth will be close to what we did for Helen. I'm actually going to change how the tongue will actually be red and the gums will be the purple tone, but close to. So that's going to be the plan for next week. Work on getting the mouth done, getting the classic candy corn colors of white, orange, yellow, doing the red licorice tentacles, the cotton candy pink base, and the powder blue rock candy stalagmites. And then, right after, don't forget, after Paint and Slay next week, you're going to stay here and you're going to watch this. Okay? We're going to have this great one-shot happening with B. Dave Walters as the DM and some fantastic players, as you just saw right there. It's going to be happening right after Paint and Slay Sunset, 2 p.m. when we're done, because we're just about to wrap up here. Yay! So you get to not only see Not Helen get painted up, but you also have a chance to enter and win the Not Helen minis that Lauren and I are painting to help support WAVA and their fantastic efforts. Again, this is a group that practices out of Canada. If you want more information on them, definitely go and check them out. You can even start on their Twitter account if you want to, and then check out their website. A lot of good information. They do so much to help the community. Cannot recommend them enough. Big thumbs up, and they're a fantastic group to work with. So very much looking forward to next week and seeing you all and continuing work on Not Helen. And until then, is there anything else, Lauren, that we need to cover?
No, I think you
we're good.
covered everything. Have fun
Sweet.
on your weekend, everybody,
Yeah.
and go unlock Kent.
Yep. Oh, and thank you, Martin.
Thank you, Martin. You've been wonderful. Thank you. We appreciate you.
Yes, thanks everyone. Have a great one.
Bye.
Bye-bye.